Let's take a look at a Windows file server. I'm using this because this is going to be familiar to the majority of our audience. And we'll just say in our file server, in this directory is where our keys to the kingdom or our valued files sit. And as you can see here, I have a bunch of files. Now, what happens when this gets ransomed, it's very, very quick, right? So I'm just gonna slide this over and show you what would happen if we had a machine, for instance, that had a attached storage. This is a computer that has access to this file share. And in most organizations, this is how it works. Now it could be this file share or it could be a network attached storage. So as you can see here, we have these files here, which would be the keys to your kingdom or the files that were attached that are needed. The ones that if were ransomed and encrypted would either cost you money, damage your reputation, or bring down your business. And normally what happens, or one of the ways that we see this, is having this attached. So if I look at this computer here, which would be the laptop, the desktop, the one that was compromised, you can see here this map drive has the same files as this one does, right? So it's basically the same one. If I go in here and I rename this, too bad, we'll just say 1_2 and rename that. You're going to see here it renames it on this server as well. So they are 100% the same files. Now, what I have here is something that is just a tool that we're going to use to go ahead and simulate encryption. And you'll see how fast that really happens. Now, we're only in detect mode. We're not in protect mode, but you're going to see how fast we detect it, and we're able to see exactly what's going on. Right, so let's start encrypting these files. So I'll encrypt the files, we'll take the path that we had here, and it should start encrypting it right away. So as you see here, it starts encrypting it. You're seeing here how fast it gets encrypted. This is what happens in real time. These files are going to get encrypted, and by the time you even see this showing up on any of your dashboards, it's too late. So I'm just going to stop this, and that should stop that file from happening. But what you're going to see here is all these files were encrypted. Now, let's go take a look at the RansomStop dashboard and show you exactly what we see. So going back to our file server where these files were encrypted, on this machine, we just happen to have the UI for the RansomStop product. So say, for instance, you had an IT security team or even just an IT administrator, and that's really all you need. You don't even need a SOC analyst. You can start seeing exactly what happened, that we saw those files being encrypted. We can give you the path, the affected files, when it started, and some other information as well. You can actually go in here and get some more information, such as the confidence, when it was modified, edited, whatever. And as you see here on the screen, we will start adding those columns in. We do give you all the information that's needed. And if you wanted to at this point, although we're just in detection mode, you could put this in protection mode and actually protect yourself from this. So just being able to go and look at the policies, we have it in detect only mode. And in detect only mode, you actually are allowed to say what is ignored, what's allowed, what you want to block. You can have what you want to do with the detections. If I don't care about certain things, I can turn it off. Or I can choose to respond, and you can have different responses for different file types, and then you can determine what type of response you want. We always say you should collect all the forensics. So if there is an incident and you have to investigate it, those forensics are already there. But you can suspend the user account. You can stop the processes. If it was, for instance, in an S3 bucket, you could actually suspend those access keys, and we would block the IP address wherever it resides and pretty much knock that user off, or the IP address that those threat actors are coming from. We do out of the box give you detect and enforce mode. So I could really just go in and change this analyzer to enforce mode. And here you see that the responses are to block the user and take action. The reason I didn't block it was you would have seen 1 or 2 files maybe get encrypted, and that would have been the end of the demonstration, and it really wouldn't have shown the value. But you can have it in a standalone model or a distributed model. As you see here, I can have multiple analyzers, so it can go across your entire enterprise, and you could have one analyzer which will be a distributed model, and you can see across many machines, or you can have analyzers themselves on each machine. It's very simple that way to set up. And if I wanted to pick this analyzer, I would just edit this and change it from detect only to enforce mode or a custom policy that I have. It's that simple to switch from detect to prevent. And as I said, we are able to give you the forensics, right? So anything that's there, something that happened, you're able to go ahead and get those forensics depending on what we collect. And at this point, you can download all of this information and be able to see what went on, investigate yourself, or if need be, hand it over to your incident responders. We also give you the ability, if it was a malicious file that's known or a hash that's known, we would allow it to go to VirusTotal. You can look up the score here if it was known in VirusTotal, and you can go to VirusTotal itself and go ahead and look up that threat. You can use your own API key and get all of the benefits from VirusTotal. So as you can see from our dashboard, we have automatic detection. We showed you how the behavioral analysis identifies suspicious file activity. And if I go back to the dashboard, we will show you all of the file activity that happens over time. And you can see exactly what happens: creates, reads, updates, deletes, all of the CRUD on the files. And it's very easy to see it in a graphical format. You can change how you see it, what's relevant to you, how it makes sense to you. You can look at it any number of ways and be able to analyze this data. We highlighted to you the speed of detection. It took us milliseconds to be able to detect malicious file activity and display those alerts, and you get those notifications triggered. You can actually send it to a Slack, a email, or we can send it to a SIM if we're not blocking it, or you can have us send it to a SIM or have notifications when we do block it. Everything that we do will be displayed. So as I mentioned, we have the automatic isolation with enforce mode. We just showed you how all of your affected file systems would be protected, and the logging and the evidence which is collected for forensics. Imagine going from a ransomware attack to just being notified that someone was trying to ransom your system. There is no need for the backups. There is no need to restore from a clean snapshot. We have detection in milliseconds. It happens automatically. It stops the attack before there's any ransom demand. When our customers have that, they save exponentially in recovery time and potential ransom. So I want to thank you for your interest in Plume Security's RansomStop. You can learn more at RansomStop.com, and we hope to connect with you either on our website or our Plume Security LinkedIn page. Thanks again.